Hare Krishna. So let us begin our session by prayer. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So let's see that what is the shloka that we'll be discussing. So this is Bhagavad Gita chapter 1 verse 32 to 35. Okay, so we'll repeat the shlokas now. First 32nd one. Please repeat after me. Kim no rajyena govinda kim bhogirjivitena vam yesham arthe kankshitam no rajyam bhoga sukhani cha ta ime avastitha yuddhe pranam tyaktva dhanani cha आचार्याः पितरः पुत्रा तथैव च पितामहाः मातुलाः श्वशुरा पौत्राः शालाः सम्बन्धिनस्तथा एतान् हन्तुमिच्छामि ज्ञतोऽपि मधुसूदनाम् अपि त्रैलोक्यराज्यस्य हेतो किं नो मही कृते निहत्यादार्तराष्ट्रान्नः का प्रीतिः स्यात् जनार्दनाम्. So there are the four shlokas together. Synonyms, some translation also there. So we'll go by synonyms now. So in these four verses, these are the Sanskrit words. So we'll go one by one now. Kim, what use? Naha, to us. Rajena is the kingdom. Govinda, O Krishna. Kim, what? Bhoge, enjoyment. Jivitena, by living. Va, either. Esham, for whom. Arthe, for the matter of. Kankshitam, desired. Naha, our. Rajyam, kingdom. Bhogaha, material enjoyment. Sukhani, all happiness. Cha, also. Te, all of them. Ime, these. Avasthithaha, situated. Yuddhe, in this battlefield. Pranan, lives. Tyaktva, giving up. Dhanani, riches. Cha, also. Acharyaha, teachers. Pitaraha, fathers. Putraha, sons. Tatha, as well as. Eva, certainly. Cha, also. Pitamahaha, grandfathers. Matulaha, maternal uncles. Shashuraha, father-in-law. Fathers-in-law. Pautraha, grandsons. Shalaham, brothers-in-law. Sambandhinaha, relatives. Tatha, as well as. Etan, all these. Na, never. Hantum, for killing. Ichchami, do I wish. Ghnataha, being killed. Api, even. Madhusudhana, O killer of demon Madhu, Krishna. Api, even if. Trailokya, of the three words. Rajyasya, of the kingdoms. Hetoho, in exchange. Kim, what to speak of. No, only. Mahi krute, for the sake of earth. Nihatya, by killing. Dhartarashtran, the sons of the Tarashtra. Naham, our. Ka, what. Preetihi, pleasure. Syat, will there be. Janardana, O maintainer of all living entities. So we'll see the translation, how the translation goes. The translation says that, O Govinda, of what avail to us our kingdoms, happiness, or even life itself, when all those for whom we may desire them are now arrayed in this battlefield? O Madhusudana, when teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, maternal uncles, fathers in law, grandsons, brothers in law, and all relatives are ready to give up their lives and properties and are standing before me, then why should I wish to kill them, though I may survive? O maintainer of all creatures, I am not prepared to fight with them, even in exchange for the three worlds, let alone this earth. So, this is a translation of this shloka, these shlokas like 32 to 35th shlokas. So all these four shlokas are actually spoken by Arjuna when he sees that um, his relatives in midst of the two armies. So let us see that what are the takeaway points in these translations. So here there are three names of Krishna is explained here. O Govinda, or he addresses the three names with to the Krishna. See, Govinda and Madhusudana and Janardana are maintainer of all creatures. So these are the three names he is actually addressing to Krishna. So in this name, there is a particular message that he want to convey to Krishna. Is not addressing whimsically. Even the Veda Vyasa is not composing it here whimsically. It's actually particularly mentioning that has a particular meaning, and that meaning is explained here. So here Govinda means what? The Govinda, what avail to us? What avail to us are kingdoms, happiness, or even life itself, when all those for whom we may desire them are now arrayed in the battlefield. So he's asking question here, oh Govinda, what avail to us are kingdoms, happiness, even life itself, when all those for whom we may desire them are now arrayed in the battlefield? See, we wanted kingdom and happiness and even life. For what purpose? For them, for the relatives. And they themselves are standing in front of us, and they actually wanted to fight with us. So, what benefit I'm getting in this battlefield? So, this is a one message that he wanted to convey. So second point is telling the Madhusudana. Oh Madhusudana. So what is the meaning of Madhusudana here? We'll go by purport in that particular little meaning of the Madhusudana, Janardana and Govinda. But now we'll see exact the translation how it goes. See next Madhusudana, when he addresses Madhusudana, he's having some more questions here. See, when teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, maternal uncles, father-in-law, grandsons, brother-in-laws. So these are actually his relatives are standing in front of him, and all relatives are ready to give up their lives, properties, and standing before him. Lives, properties, and they're standing in front of him. Then why should I wish to kill them, although I may survive? Why, Matsudana? Why I should kill them when they're ready to give their own properties, lives, and they're ready to fight? But we wanted properties. You know, the Hastinapura, you wanted the property. For what? For whom? What purpose? For the citizens, for the welfare of the citizens, he wanted to um, rule, hand it over to Yudhishthira. That was his planning. So now Arjuna is telling, what is use now? For whom wanted to give, they only standing in front of me. So why should I kill them? Although I may survive. Means he's sure about his victory. Arjuna is thinking that he's going to win that battle. But who are going to be defeated in that battlefield? So that is also he is calculating. Those are actually his own relatives. That is about the Madhusudana point. And next is Janardana. So in Janardana point, he's telling that I am not prepared to fight with them even in exchange for the three worlds, let alone this earth. I am not prepared to fight with them. So Janardana, Krishna, so he's addressing Krishna like that, O maintainer of creatures. So you know that I am You are the creature, you are the maintainer of all the creatures of all the different planetary systems. Three worlds of you are a maintainer. So if you give exchange of that three words and you ask me to fight, I'm not ready to fight with them. So this is my decision. So that is what actually Arjuna is conveying in this translation of the of group of shlokas, that is second to 35th shlokas. So these are the takeaway points in the translation. So now we'll go in the purport or bhavarta. So what actually our spiritual master is explaining in this uh, translation, how it is arranged. Let us go through one by one. So Arjuna addresses Krishna as Govinda. So you know what is mean by Govinda? Everybody knows that Govinda means just like Tirupati, Srinivas Govinda. That's all they know. But actually, a literal meaning is also something very important to know. One is literal meaning of this uh, Govinda is object of all pleasures of cows. Go means cows, and is a object of all pleasures of cows. So he is giving pleasure to cows. So that is why it is called as Govinda. Object of all pleasures of senses. Go means also one more meaning is senses. So sense, he is giving pleasures to all our senses. Not only his senses, everybody's senses. We have senses, isn't it? So all these senses of each ones are getting enlightened, are getting pleasures through this object. What is that object? Krishna. So that is why Govinda means that's the two meaning actually explanation is given. By using this word, what is actually wanted to convey to Krishna? What will satisfy his senses? To whose senses? Krishna's senses. So what is the benefit that you will get? How you going to get satisfied? So that is why he's telling that by satisfying the sense of Govinda, then automatically all our senses will be satisfied. That is what he is having an idea. By satisfying senses of Govinda, then all our senses will be getting satisfied. The center point is actually Krishna, Govinda. You might be knowing Vrindavan. Everybody was thinking of Krishna, serving Krishna. Even Lakshmi Devi is actually thinking of serving Krishna. It is said that there is like so many millions of Lakshmis are standing in queue to serve one after the other to Krishna. Because if Krishna is served, then everybody is getting served. So that is what actually his meaning is. Then automatically all of us are getting satisfied. That's one point. And materially, so what is actually it's telling about Govinda is everyone wants to satisfy senses. Materially, people want to satisfy their senses, isn't it? See, what do you mean by senses satisfying means? Suppose I have a eyes. This eyes actually want to satisfy means what? It want to see something which is actually soothing to the our eyes. Something we want to hear very like pleasure, will give pleasure to our ears. Okay, here. So that sound is very pleasing to me. If it's not pleasing, if it's not very disturbing, means I'll not listen to it, isn't it? That is a way of understanding this senses and satisfying. So everyone wants to satisfy their senses. He wants God to be a order supplier for such satisfaction. But people what they do is they want God to be supply their orders. Lord, if we know, if in front of the Lord, if you go, what you will ask? You'll not think of serving Krishna, serving Lord, or serving his senses. What we will be feeling is, oh Lord, you are there to supply me something. I have some this problem. My I didn't get admission to good school. I didn't get a good marks. I didn't get a good job. I didn't get a salary. All this will actually will have a orders to Lord. So Lord, what he has to do? He has to supply that orders. Oh, you didn't get a job. Oh, you didn't get a good school. So he has to supply. Otherwise, what you will feel? He is not a God. You feel. So that is why he is actually materially satisfying. So there's some more points to be known in this Bhavarta purport. The takeaway points are here. Lord will satisfy the senses of living entities as much as they deserve, but not to the extent that they may covet. It's not that they should eat like having a mm, like so much eager to serve their senses. No, Lord will satisfy the senses. Everybody's living entities senses are actually known to Krishna, and He knows that how they will get satisfied, and to that much extent only He gives that. How much they deserve, no, that much only He'll satisfy senses, not to the extent of them make covet. So next is, but when one takes the opposite way, what is the opposite way? Namely, when one tries to satisfy the sense of Govinda without desiring to satisfy one's own senses, those are what devotees. Okay, namely, when one tries to satisfy the sense of Govinda without desiring to satisfy one's own senses, they'll not think about their own sense of satisfaction. They think that if Krishna is satisfied, Govinda is satisfied, then I'm satisfied. If he's not satisfied, then I'm not satisfied. So this is a way of understanding a devotee. Devotee will think in this way. That by the grace of Govinda, all days of living entities are dissatisfied. So he when he satisfied Govinda and Govinda satisfied, then he knows that all are getting satisfied. So this is the mentality of a devotee. Okay, last point. Arjuna's deep affection for community and family members is exhibited here partly due to his natural compassion for them. So he's having a natural compassion for them because he's also a grihastha, he's also a family member. So he's not a sannyasi. And his deep affection for communities and family members is exhibited here. And here he's telling that he's therefore not prepared to fight. He's not prepared to fight. So this is a point with the Govinda that we can understand. So now we'll go. Everyone wants to show his opulence to friends and relatives. Now Arjuna is telling that I don't want kingdom. I don't want this happiness and even life itself. He said. So now why he is telling like that? Because everyone wants to show his opulence to friends and relatives. Suppose you have opulence. What for that opulence is? If you're not showing to your relatives or your friends, you're building a house, and if you're satisfied with whatever you have, then there's no fun in it, isn't it? That's the nature of the people, material people. So that's what Arjuna also thinking, that to whom I have to show that I have got a good kingdom, I have got a good life, happiness I am getting. All these things I want to show to them. So this is what actually people want to show. And here, but Arjuna fears that all his relatives and friends will be killed in the battlefield, and he will be unable to share his opulence after victory. So he will be unable to share his opulence after victory because he has to share. Then only people will understand that he is a good Kshatriya. This is a typical calculation of material life. However, however, a transcendental life is different. A devotee will be having a different mentality. The materialistic people having a different mentality, but the devotee is having a different mentality. What is it? Mentality is life is transcendental life. His mentality will be transcendental, means is not subjected to this material world. Since a devotee wants to satisfy the desires of the Lord, he wants to satisfy the desires of the Lord. Desires of everybody's also will be there, but actually a devotee will think that he wants to satisfy the Lord's desire, not his desire. Lord's desire gets satisfied. He can, Lord willing, accept all kinds of opulence for the service of the Lord. So then he can think that he can accept all kinds of opulences. If opulence is given, he will think that how he can serve to the Lord. Otherwise, he'll not think about like opulences. Opulence he doesn't want. If it given, then he'll offer to Lord. If the Lord is not willing, you should not accept a farthing. Even Lord is also not giving anything, then why should he ask? So this is about the second point in the Bhavarta. Third point, Arjuna did not want to kill his relatives. No, what he actually wanted, he doesn't want to kill any relatives. And if there were any need to kill them, he decided that Krishna kill them personally. So if it's supposed to be killed, then Krishna will kill. So this is a topic of the first chapter where he didn't see any universal form of the Lord. At this point, he did not know that Krishna had already killed them before their coming into the battlefield, and that he was only to become an instrument for Krishna. He was only actually acting as an instrument to Krishna. This fact is disclosed in following chapters. Subsequent chapters, if you, when you go through, you can understand that how Krishna reveals that um, he is actually already killed all those uh, Kauravas, his enemies, like that. This is about the third point. And fourth point, here it says that as a natural devotee of the Lord, Arjuna did not like to retaliate against his miscreants. Who are miscreants? Kauravas. Miscreant cousins and brothers, but it was the Lord's plan that they should all be killed. So he's having a Lord's, is going with the Lord's plan. So as a natural devotee of the Lord, Arjuna did not like to retaliate this. He want to fight with them, but let us see how he's thinking now. He's thinking that a Lord's plan that they should all be killed. So next point is the devotee of the Lord does not retaliate against the wrongdoer. If anybody is doing wrong, then devotee of the Lord does not retaliate against the wrongdoer. But the Lord does not tolerate any mischief done to devotee by miscreants. Lord will tolerate if something done to him, some mischiefs is done to him, but he does not tolerate when mischiefs are done to his devotees by miscreants. So that is a beautiful quality of Lord. And the Lord can excuse a person on his own account, but he excuses no one who has done harm to his devotees. Therefore, the Lord was determined to kill the miscreants, although Arjuna wanted to excuse them. So, this is a very beautiful character exhibited in this Bhavarata. So, this is a translation purport and synonyms of this Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1, verses 32 to 35. So, thank you very much. Hare Krishna.